Hello, it's Tony here, and in this video I want to talk about Process Advisor with a big data set, and I'm surprised at how actually useful it can be. So we've looked at Process Advisor for task mining, where you're recording what someone does, and then using that to generate maps, process maps, and then process mining, where you're using a database, some data from a database to generate the same maps. But I'm curious because we used sample data. I haven't had a chance to get my hands on this with client data set yet. So I wanted to find out and just see what is it like with more data, like a lot of data. So I went on the internet and I found a particularly useful data set. Let me just bring it up. So I found this data set from a process mining university course. So I can't remember exactly where I found it, but I found a whole bunch of records that have a unique process ID, they have a timestamp, and they have an activity name. Now these three pieces of data here, they're the only pieces of data that you need to generate a process map. They also had a team assignment in there as well. So this team does particular parts of the process, which I thought was useful to put in there because you can add up to 5 additional columns to slice the data with as well. So I found I prepared 148,000 rows worth of data. Currently, Process Advisor supports up to 150,000 rows of data. It's in preview. Eventually, that will increase, but in preview, that's what it supports. So I wanted to test it to nearly its limit. So that's what I did, and it generated a map like this. The data was too complex to load a map. Please select variant to proceed. Okay, didn't quite work. But what I can do is, you see the team data here. I can look at team number 1. Click on team. This is what team number 1 does, and you will actually see that generates the process map here. So it can generate process maps, which is pretty cool. But as you can see, that's pretty complex for just what team 1 does. So for the whole data set, okay, I give it the benefit of the doubt. It is too difficult to generate that process map. But of the data set in its entirety, the average case takes 95 days to resolve. By the way, I have no idea what this business process is. It's just some data from a database about a business process. You will have databases managing business processes in your organization where you could generate this data pretty easily to get some insights like this. Absolutely. So of the data set that I found of this business process, I've got no idea where it is. It takes 95 days average case duration. Of a median case duration is around 30 days for this business process. Okay, fairly interesting. Big difference there between the mean and the median. There are 38 activities in this business process. That means there are 38 of these. 38 unique ones of these. In the data set, there are 13,000 cases, 13.28 thousand cases, which means there are 13,000 of these. There are just over 7,000 variants of these cases, variations. So what this means is that this here, for case number 4, it followed this particular path. It had these activities in this particular order. Now, if there is another process, another IM number that follows the same particular process, that classes as one variation. It's 2 different processes, but only one variation of that process. So that's quite interesting. That 7,000 variations on a case number of 13,028. So I then played around with some other reports and looked at those. I'm not going to get into those at the moment. What I'm going to get into is what I found that was most interesting. This variance by frequency. What this is saying here is that variation number 479 generated 839 cases. So if I click on that, it shows me the process map for those 839 cases. So 839 of 13,000, what's that? That's 6.32% of cases follow this process, which is open, caused by CI, whatever that is, and then closed. Now, can this be automated? If we can automate this easily, then we're going to take out 6% of all cases. Pretty neat. So let's look at the next variation. 619. So this is 4.6%. Follow this process. Can we automate that? If we automate that, it takes out that number. If we change this to hours, you can see here you get a bit more granular on the hours as well. So same here, go down to this variation, this variation, this variation. Oh, this is all variations again. Here's what's really cool. If I look at the main variation again, this one here, and now I'm going to hold shift down and click on the next variation. And it builds the process map to match those two variations. I'm going to keep clicking these. So is this automatable? Keep asking that question over here. How easy is this to automate? So we get to here, or maybe we get a little bit further. Let's cut that one, and maybe that one. So if we look at this business process, and we think, okay, how easy is it to automate this particular part of the process? Because if we can automate this, then we're going to knock out 3,275 cases, which is around a quarter of all the cases done for this particular data set. Whatever this business process is, doesn't really matter. But if it's all humans that are doing it, then we can take out a quarter of that work by automating this part of the business process. Now we also know that each of these cases on average takes 1.42 hours. So if we multiply 3,275 times 1.42 hours, then we get around 4,600 hours, and that's in this time span. So that's in a time span of 2nd of January to the 12th of December, so 11 months. Let's say you can inflate that by a little bit for extrapolate out to 12-month period. So we're probably looking at around 5,000 hours a year that can be saved by automating this business process and taking out this number of cases in that business process. That's pretty cool analysis. I really, really, really like that. Hopefully that was interesting. If you would like the sample data set that I base this on, drop me a message. Happy to share that with you. And it's really easy to upload, and then you can play with the other reports yourself. It's very, very interesting stuff. Indeed, if you have your own process data that you'd like me to look at with you, happily do that as well. Thank you for watching, and hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.